12 months ago, New Zealand scaled the heights of international rugby league. Tonight, though, it's back to basics, a game that's almost do or die for the men in black. Good evening, everybody, and a warm welcome from Jade Stadium here in Christchurch. It's the Kiwis up against Great Britain in Game 3 of the Gillette Tri-Nations. So much pressure on the home side, 0-2 of course in this tournament, and tonight our first look at Great Britain. Special welcome to our international audience taking the telecast here from the Garden City in the South Island tonight, including those watching through Fox Sports. Welcome one and all on what is certainly a special occasion here for the people in this fair city. First time we've had an Anglo-Kiwi test match in Christchurch for the record since 1996. Great Britain, having played that warm-up game in Newcastle coming into the tournament. Big expectations in the north of England. Can they win on the road? That is the big question here as we have a look at their side. A dazzling back line from 1 to 7. Paul Wellens, the man of steel at the back. And of course, Sean Long, the Lance Todd Trophy winner, working the scrums. The pack, well, some tough nuts there. The likes of Fielden and Morley, the latter, of course, returning from suspension. The captain, Jamie Peacock. The coach, Brian Noble.
And Adrian Morley, a player that's known to many down this part of the world. He's performed consistently in perhaps the toughest competition in the rugby league world. But the guy on the other side, Fielden, he is one. He is special. Many suggesting that he should be the #1 prop in the game of rugby league. Keep an eye out for him. But they've got plenty of class out wide as well. Maguire and Long in particular.
New Zealand coming off that heartbreaking loss to the Kangaroos at the Telstra Dome in Melbourne. What a game that was. Big disappointment as we have a look at the team card for the Kiwis. Some changes to that side from Game 2. Tame Tupou is recalled to the wing. Pritchard is also back in the lineup. Fiend to start for the first time in a test match at hooker. And of course, Vangana moves out to the centres. Rowe Party in the 6 jumper. And on the bench, they welcome back Tony and Jason Kalis. The coach, Brian McLennan. Brian Noble, cool customer, former Yorkshire policeman, now of course entrenched as the Great Britain coach. A lot of long-time rugby league fans in this part of the world would of course remember him when he led out the GB Lions back in 1984 when they did play on both sides of the Tasman before he spent some time at the Cronulla Sharks. And we see the Lions in a huddle, so much pressure, as I say, on them. We've seen them win before. 6 of their last 7 games against the Kiwis have been successful. But away from England, it has been a different story.
Well, a huge responsibility there on the man behind Brian Noble, Jamie Peacock. One is certainly not shy. He's very forthright in his opinions and being quite clear. This is a football side. Yes, they may be the underdogs, but they'll go out and they'll back themselves and they'll have a crack. There's some fiery characters in their pack, but they've got to get up. They've got to be able to match what's coming at them in the form of the black and whites, because they've got a huge amount of confidence about what's around them.
The majority of this Great Britain side comprising of players from 2 clubs, namely St Helens and Leeds. Saints, of course, cleaning up with all the silverware on offer as Jamie Peacock leads out the Lions onto Jade Stadium. And the Brits certainly have a sprinkling of support here at this famous arena.
Sometimes, Costa, when we think of the skills and the size of these English players of teams gone past, we think of the silky skills of the halves. But this English pack, it is massive. You think New Zealand's big and Australia are big out wide. This team is big across the park. And if they're not big in stature, they're big and robust. Carney on the wing, for instance, good power.
But add to that size, athleticism and mobility. They can play with the football, but they can also get physical. Keith Senior, he loves to get involved in the collision. Playing in the centres, he'll get involved. Look to him on 2-man plays. Decoys running in, out the back door. Leon Price, normally playing in the 5'8" position for St Helens. He's back on the wing where he was involved last year. And Adrian Morley, he will not change his style. He will not take a step backwards. There's only one way. Sean Long, you talked about him, Costo. Now's his time.
Certainly is. 30-year-old halfback. We've certainly seen him brain them on the domestic stage in the UK, but Test football, a different kettle of fish altogether, as the world record holder, speaking of Test football, leads out his men, the Crisco Kiwis, Tri-Nations defending champions, but staring down the barrel of 5 consecutive Test defeats. Such a huge night for the home side.
As Reuben McGee leads them out, and the crowd roar. Stacey Jones, last week we saw a touch of magic from him, and let's hope it's the start of something new. People have been waiting to see Stacey play all year after not being with the Warriors. They get a taste of his running game last week. The back row for mine, the workaholic. Who's going to do the work? Pritchard, Kidwell, that man on screen.
David Kidwell, of course, getting the rare opportunity to play a Test match in his hometown. Man who adds so much starch to that back row for this New Zealand side. Nigel Vangana, no stranger, of course, to Test match football. One of the seasoned pros in this Kiwi lineup.
And one of the best game breakers in the game as well when he's on form. Expect him tonight to get a little bit more quality football. Getting width in their passing game, supplied by Jerome Ropart in the number 6.
Time to go downstairs for the formalities now with the national anthems for Game 3 of the Gillette Tri-Nations.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the national anthem of New Zealand, to be sung by Grant Sullivan.
So the formalities are out of the way. They will be watching in Warrington, of course. Adrian Morley, that's his new club. Back from the sin bin, if you like. Not that he's a stranger to that department, having served another suspension. As we go downstairs once more to that pre-game ritual and the Kiwi haka here at Jade Stadium. interestingly, the Great Britain side in formation, ready to receive the football. A different approach, of course, to what we saw from the Kangaroos in recent times.
And in many ways, it's perhaps a return to the way it used to be. It's only in the last 2 outings against the Kangaroos that they've opted to link arms and confront. But what we're seeing also something quite special. The feeling, the emotion being expressed, it doesn't matter. But this is something different as well. Prior to kickoff, resuming the huddle, the last opportunity for Ruben Wiki, just to give them some parting words. In a game that they know they want to be part of the final November 25, find the results.
Kiwis winning the toss. Paul Simpkins, our Sydney sider, who's jetted in across the Tasman to take charge of proceedings here tonight. Kiwis running from left to right. The Lions to receive the football. Here at Jade. Time on, says the referee. We're underway. Game 3 of the Tri-Nations. Big game for New Zealand tonight, looking for their first win in the tournament. And playing the football, Adrian Morley. And now they come across now this British lineup tonight, looking to make an impression. Paul Wellens plays it back, and the Lions now with Stuart Fielding, of course, part of that world record transfer fee during the season, going to Wigan from Bradford. Here's the penalty, the first one of the game.
And the first opportunity for Great Britain to actually confront the defence of the Kiwis. Simpkin rolling there, perhaps just labouring it a little too long. Ruben Wiki with assistance there by Jerome, just lingering just a little too long. Great Britain get the first penalty, get out of their danger zone. But watching the Kiwis, the Kangaroos, after the last couple of weeks, watching and now being part of it, what they described as a physical confrontational battle, now part of it, very different.
We've got a problem with the footballs here. Maybe the footballs haven't been pumped up enough, and the second ball, Great Britain have actually thrown to the sideline to resume with another.
Finally, we're back underway, and GB go wide straight away. And they cross halfway here. This is Jamie Peacock, the Great Britain captain from the Leeds Rhinos. He plays it back, and now heading it up for the Lions. They're about 39 metres out from the New Zealand try line. Adrian Morley rises to play the football. They go the right side, and the Lions now looking for a chink in the armour and going nowhere. This is Sean O'Loughlin. He's in reverse, but somehow he got the ball away, but it was illegal. It was after the event. He was told to play the football.
Yeah, getting driven back with ball held and pass the ball.
Well, the lock forward has just been given the explanatory notes from the referee. They are gobsmacked, the visitors.
Well, after stopping the momentum and holding him up, you can see Mannering there lifting up. About 2 seconds before he offloaded that ball, the ref call held, boxed himself into a corner. Only decision to be made.
Sean O'Loughlin, brother-in-law to former Great Britain captain, of course, Andy Farrell. Interesting that, of course, he's fitted into that number 13 jumper that Farrell, of course, wore so long. For GB, what a tackle, what a shot, Adrian Morley! It's one of the bad boys of international footy with a big shot, and now there's a stink on. Morley in his comeback game in the thick of it. But Adrian Morley.
I tell you what, he did not miss either. Ruben Wiki, quick to his feet, which is a good sign, goes up and gives him a pat. But have a listen in. This is nothing new.
Okay, we've got you on the high shot, okay? Up around the neck, it's on report.
Unfortunate with Adrian Morley's defensive style is that he more often than not predetermines the angle, the line that he's going to take in executing the tackle, and all it requires is a slight adjustment by the carrier. He commits himself and he doesn't change, and more often he comes on the wrong end.
But surely the adjustment you're talking about, Peter, is adjustment in crouching the knees and the actual launch into the tackle. He's a big guy, he's tall, and he just wraps.
You guys coming in, you're only going to escalate it, okay? Keep it out, you've already had the...
And now the ref gives Kidwell and the boys a little bit of their orders as well, but he needs to crouch, his launch, his technique. Sure, it needs some work.
That's the point. He doesn't.
They will check it post-match. Morley retreating in the line. Here we go. Kiwis on the attack. And hitting it up, Frank Pritchard. He crumbled a few Australians in the curtain raiser at the Telstra Dome last week. Back in the lineup here tonight. 10 metres out. They go to Jones at first receiver. Webb. Fat ball across to Kidwell. Local favourite is wrapped up by a posse of Lions. Key Senior there working overtime for Great Britain. And now charging as a Simpkins says it was a fumble. Feen just questioning the referee. And the Lions, for the time being, they can breathe easy.
Asatasi with good footwork at the line. And there, well, please.
Over seconds and locks.
There's hands all over that.
Ball in.
Well, we saw the play moments before with Keith Senior coming in, and it was what many would describe as a flop. It was unnecessary. You didn't need to get involved. They got away with that one, and they just got to tick it out on this one.
Peacock, the man who perhaps got away with something there for Great Britain, and some vigour in the tackle. Kendall giving it to the Lions. Sean Long looking for a hole. He's taken by his opposite number, Stacey Jones. Of course, they played a little bit of football against one another in the Super League this year. Now clearing kick off the boot of Danny Maguire, fielded by Webb at the back. And they try to pick him off, and eventually it is Maguire who makes the tackle.
A couple of changes to this New Zealand side with Nigel Vagana shifting back into the centres. Nigel will play on the right side, and this is the side where last week Harpe and also Soliola had an absolute field day against the Australians. That shifted the big fella Soliola back over to the left side, and Stacey Jones will defend on the right edge as against the left from last week.
Pritchard takes them on, takes the tackle. Downstairs was Gleeson. Over the top was Peacock. They come down the short side. And now Soliola, 2 tries last week, should have been a hat-trick. Quick play the ball required. That's exactly what they got on the last. Feen with the kick, bouncing in the in goal. Too much on that. So we go downstairs for the first time tonight. And we've got the two Steves, McIver and Price. Good evening to you both.
Thank you, Costa. A nice night for football too. Calm breeze blowing right to left as you look at the screen. The sunset over the Port Hills at the moment. But Steve, already the Palms have shown they want to get this ball out wide early.
Yeah, mate, both teams are sorting each other out, and it's great to see. I suppose field position is going to be the key tonight, and it's showing that start early in the game.
All right, Costa, there you go. This one's early, but things starting just to settle down right now.
Indeed, 5.5 gone in the test match. The Lions now crossing halfway, some second phase courtesy of the captain in Peacock now. Again, looking for holes. Great Britain, nothing in the offing there for Gareth Ellis. Part of this all-lead second-row combination for Brian Noble tonight. Sean Long, little dab in behind the line rather, and Webb has to scamper. He got there quickly. Good chase, one-on-one. It was Wellens making the tackle. Tame Tupou with a barnstorming run. The Brisbane Bronco, difficult man to put away.
Played in the New Zealand A game last week in Melbourne and seemed to have a real spring in his step. Wanted to get aggressive. Took the ball running hard at the line and plenty of involvement. Need plenty more from Tame tonight too.
Wiki plays it back, perhaps still feeling the effects of that shake-up from Adrian Morley. Here's Brant Webb trying to trip the defence with some deft footwork.
Talking about defence so far, Great Britain have been quite outstanding, being able to read, position themselves defensively for what's coming at them. Goal line defence, a couple of errors on the Kiwis' part, perhaps allowing Great Britain to get off the hook. But so far in this game, they've been able to match.
Jones with the kick, fielded on the full by Paul Wellens, and what a stellar season he had with St Helens, of course, under former Kiwi coach himself, Daniel Anderson. Now it comes to Brian Carney, himself in good nick this year for Newcastle, Dally M winger of the year, of course, and off to join the Gold Coast Titans once this series is over. Gleeson ducking and weaving. And now zipping out a dummy half, passing before the line. Terry Newton, he was looking for runners, creative work.
Obviously no Kieran Cunningham tonight, but so far Newton's involvement in the game. He's been sharp coming out of the acting half, finding his support players. Great Britain being able to find touches, slow the game down. They've been involved, they've been under the hammer. Now they're in an opportunity just to get some consolidation, get some territory, settle down.
Peter, key point you said, slowing the game down, because Steve Price right beside me said, look at the English forwards already. They are struggling to get back, and we've only just gone under 8 minutes.
Some suggesting the hit out last week this Great Britain side had against Newcastle wasn't top shelf, to say the least. So a slow game here for Great Britain in their first hit out will certainly benefit them.
Ben, stay in. Stay in.
Jones to work the scrum. Tremendous return to form it was from the little general last week.
And that return to form's all on the back of a running game. When Stacey runs, there's something possible.
Now hitting it up is Jerome Ropati, back in his preferred position of standoff, or 5/8 if you like, tonight. Bit of a Mr. Fix-It in the early days of his Test career for New Zealand. There's a Tazi passing before the line, bookend to bookend. Wiki on the receiving end and still stealing a metre or two despite the efforts of Fielden.
And they're in trouble out wide if it goes.
Well, that's where they're going. Webb still going, standing in the tackle, trying to stand up Gleeson. Gleeson sticks to him like glue, and he makes the tackle.
Back in the middle.
On the last, they go to Jones. Now a kick for the line, he finds it.
Albeit only just under 9 minutes gone in this game. So much of a territory possession, perhaps favouring the Kiwis. Great Britain just hanging in. And on that last play, just struggling to get their defensive pattern. They were in all sorts of bother on the right-hand side.
Got a question the last play from Stacey Jones, though, kicking for touch from 25, 30 metres out. Seemed to have Great Britain under pressure. Where was the high kick? Where were the wingers? Where was the communication?
Perhaps a blessing for the Lions. This is Sean O'Loughlin here, the Wigan lock forward, playing it back. New Zealand now muscling up in defence. Ellis.
Release. Back here, Dave.
And now darting away, Leon Price. 12 short of halfway. Terry Newton out of dummy half quickly.
That was a good play, the ball as well. Roy Asatasi getting caught up. One marker. And acting half he goes.
Dusty pass out of dummy half. Quick hands. Hot potato stuff. Carney with a kick and a chase. Webb is back there. Gets a kind bounce. And just as well for him and the Kiwis.
Back in the hole.
Nice touch when nothing's happening. Looks like there's nothing special. Then all of a sudden, just a little bit of sleight of hand. And you create something out of nothing.
Good carry, Vatuvai. Good yards.
Soliola. The Roosters sent a three-quarter up to the 30-metre line here at Jade Stadium, Game 3 of the Gillette Tri-Nations, as New Zealand spread it. Under pressure, Vangana had nowhere to go, making the tackle. Leon Price was up there for Great Britain. Now Ropati.
5 last. Let him up.
10 short of halfway on the last. Fiend's got it. Kicking from dummy half. Awkward bounce. In fact, Wellens has to play it safe, play it cool, and retrieve the football. Here he is, the St Helens fullback.
What? Move! Make it back out there.
Senior. I can recall seeing him in the flesh back in the mid-1990s at the McAlpine Stadium in Huddersfield. He's certainly kicked on since then. Veteran campaigner in the centres for Brian Noble nowadays. Newton plays it back. Sean Long running the show. He comes across here to Ellis. Struggling to come through the other side. Flat ball to Morley. That's okay, though. On report, if you joined us late, Adrian Morley, and getting a penalty for his side here. What a piggyback this is.
Good play, Morley. Came from a long way back and attacked in behind the ruck. Got a good short ball. And then, when grasped in the tackle, seems to have got up and freed himself. Comes in for a second play. Let's say you run the ball in behind the ruck as the front row. Short one there, takes a good step on the inside of Asatasi. He only manages to grab one leg. There is the tackle complete. Well, the ref seems to think so, and so does Morley. He gets up to play the ball. Ropati doesn't think so. He's all over him. Penalty.
And some good lead-up work to this one as well. Started with Keith Senior. He got the metres under the belt. Then they got some quick play the ball. The Kiwis a little scrappy. 2 or 3 occasions now we're seeing them getting tangled up in the marker area. And then the next play there, Morley doing exactly what you wanted. But when you look at the offensive games at the moment, the Kiwis, it's about finding that physical in the middle. When they go wide, just not enough direct play coming.
Sean Long, 30-year-old, number 7 for Great Britain. Man of Steel winner back in 2000. Has it set 29 metres out from goal. He has nailed it. First points in the Test match to the visitors here at Jade Stadium. Long raising the flags, 13 gone. It's the Lions at 2-0.
Good strike. Hasn't done a lot of goal kicking this year. Sean Long. Jamie Lyon, who's returned to Manly, and Australia have been doing the kicking at St Helens. So a nice start to his campaign.
Keep on.
Back to work we go. The Kiwis with the restart. Carney on the return, getting some treatment on tackle 1. Mannering leading the way. Certainly made a good fist of proceedings. His somewhat shock selection at lock forward for New Zealand.
Play on the mark.
Long going this left side. Wellens beats Ryan Party. Bad miss because he made 15.
Back and hold.
The strength of Paul Wellen, physically big enough to play as a back row. Plenty of power on the fend, the ability to push off and find some metres. Great Britain playing out this set exceptionally well.
You've got to say they're winning the ruck at the moment, Peter. They're fast, they're quick out of there, they're fighting, they're getting to their feet quickly. It's making it easy for them.
Peacock with a kick, a bomb from the captain. Perhaps not his forte, but never mind. He leads the chase. Webb's got it. He does a complete 360. Someone give him a compass. Finally, he takes the tackle.
We talked moments ago about the Great Britain forwards walking. We've got exactly the same happening now with the Kiwis. As they've settled into the game, Great Britain starting to look a little bit more comfortable. They lost a few cobwebs last week up against an invitational Newcastle side, but they're really starting to find something.
Soliola appealing to the referee, but the pleas falling on deaf ears. He's lost control of the football. A cardinal sin at this level.
And asked the coach as well. The call to his side coming into tonight's match was about discipline. They talk about playing out to every set, competing, but it's also about bringing discipline to the game, the little things. A wonderful opportunity here now for Great Britain from a set play.
All bind in. I want you to bind, both sides. Bind in, Dave. In. Out.
15 minutes gone in the test match. O'Loughlin has it. This is tackle 1 here. They are 25 metres out, attacking the Hadley stand end of the ground, and Morley now with a surging run for the Lions.
And building for a set play here.
Newton almost sucked them in, did the hooker. They're only 5 metres out. Sean Long at first receiver. A juggle and a stumble, a fumble. That was messy. That was ugly from the Lions.
Started from the play of the ball. The pass from dummy half was a shocker to Long, and then it just got worse from there. Their first mistake, mind you, from this Great Britain side. Some 16 minutes into the match, they've had a fine start.
But a good defensive play, good line speed out of the Kiwis to get up there and harass. And off it's a big defensive play that gets you back into the game.
New Zealand now on the attack, out of danger. Wiki with the charge, crossing the midway stripe at Jade. They go the left side, and Jones to Webb, and a spill. It went back. No way, says the referee. Perhaps getting a call from the touchy on the far side of the ground. We will have a scrum here.
This is the 3rd time they've gone to that play, and this is perhaps the best of the 3, starting to promise something. Still slightly, just not quite on, but close.
The thing that hurts about that play, Peter, is New Zealand need to find the end of a set of 6 the next time they get the football. Currently coughing it up, 3 sets of 6 in a row. They'll wear themselves out and give themselves too much of a work rate, too much work to do to continue to play like that.
Stay in.
Loose head and feed to the Lions. Ellis. Bit of a lost possession there. Referee allows play to continue. Here's Sean Long taking it to the line.
Quicker, Dave.
Comes back to Peacock. Newton across to Fielden. Some second phase. Newton, not sure where to go. Comes back towards our commentary position, and he looks to set up Price. They keep it going to Senior. Much better from the Lions. Good support play from out wide.
There's a touch of McDermott there in Newton, the former Wigan hooker, and Great Britain.
Maguire, an overlap. It comes to Gleeson. Gleeson, can he get rid of the football? Not quite. Carney. Maguire, the kick's been charged down. Did they play at it? Yes, 6 to go. Nothing silly here required from Great Britain. More pressure building on New Zealand. They come this short side. O'Loughlin. Nothing there on offer for him. He has to be restrained by the New Zealand defence. Morley with a carry, looking to promote the football, but not quite this time. Newton, a dummy. Was there obstruction? Gleeson's got it. Looking to stand up. Soliola. Oh dear. Pushing the pass, pushing the envelope. He puts his hand up. A let-off here for the Kiwis.
Butcher to try. Have a look at the work of Vatuve here. He runs up and charges, then he backpedals. Look at it. He makes them make the decision. He gets up, then he holds time from the inside for Soliola to do his job. Does well. Good play out wide. There's a wingman and a centre working together.
But didn't Newton do well out of the acting half to be able to try and attract him, get some attention out of Vatuve? He tried to bring him up. He took the bait. But unfortunately for Great Britain, just not being able to execute. But again, some wonderful goal line defence by the Kiwis, as we saw last week as well in Melbourne. The ability to cover up some mistakes. Ruben Wiki in particular, outstanding, getting there on the right edge.
Changes coming sideline, lads. For the Kiwis, it looks like we'll see David Fa'alogo and Nathan Kalis come on. And the man that, that Brian Noble, the Great Britain coach, thinks is something special, Hull's Gareth Carvel is coming off, will come on as well in just a few moments.
Thank you, Stephen. As we come up to the midway point of the first half here at Jade Stadium, this is Pritchard, and they keep it going. Vatuve, the man they called the Beast with those big thighs. Here's a penalty. Here's a helping hand. Fifth penalty of the game. 3-2, the host leading the count.
And for many of these English players that have nightmares having to deal with someone like Leslie Vainikolo, and for the first time for many, perhaps not so much for Carney, Manu Vatuve.
Wiki and Pritchard off. Those are the two changes.
So New Zealand now on the attack, and carting it forward, Nathan Kalis, the former Kiwi captain himself. Jones. Azatazi. Jones. Campbell takes them on. Senior's there to shut him down. Vangana providing the pass out of dummy half. Here's Jones looking for runners. Row Party providing that opportunity for him. 9 metres out, right in front of the Horns. And now, darting from dummy half, Fing. Some danger signs here for the Lions. Jones, cut out pass. Webb's got it. Webb comes back. Goes across now to Fa'alogo. The new look, David Fa'alogo at that. He plays it back on the last. Jones, the go-to man. Chip over the top. Senior's got height. He's got power. Well, just for a moment, I thought he fluffed it. Somehow the Lions have come up with possession, and now Keith Senior with a settler.
Wonderful defence there by Great Britain, but also for the Kiwis, their best set of 6, being able to continue with pressure and continue with being able to fire some shots. Not quite getting the result, but recovered in territory.
Carney with a sortie from dummy half. Good metres for him, former Gaelic footballer. Great Britain now with O'Loughlin doing their best to get it up to halfway. Fifth and final has been signalled by referee Simpkins, and it's Newton, the only Bradford player in this touring squad, getting the kick away. And Tame Tupou attracting 3 Lions in defence here. Fielden is there, Newton also up. Nathan Kalis.
Back up.
Playing with brother Jason, of course, who was part of that successful St Helens side this year under Coach Anderson. Fa'alogo plays it back to Fiend. Kalis, Nathan that is, once more. Has certainly put his hand up since coming onto the park. They come the left side, and Webb finds a runner in Mannering. Out the back door, he flings it. That pass was knocked down. They played at it, and accordingly, it is 6 to go. Fa'alongo, he floats it. Vai takes on the Irishman, and Carney promotes the football. Fa'alongo thought about it just for a second. Sanity prevails in the end. Danny Maguire lucky not to concede the penalty. Jones holds up the pass, goes to Kalis. Nathan, that is, trying his best to come through the other side. 15 metres out. Fiend zipping out a dummy half. Mannering's got it. He is chopped down. Good tackle from Gleeson. On their own goal line, Great Britain. Under pressure. Under the pump. Fiend is repelled. 2 more tackles here to survive for the Lions. Jones goes to Kidwell. Lost the ball, got collared. He cops it up. Play on's the call. Great Britain. Sean Long launches the counter-attack. They're out of trouble, all right. They've travelled 35 metres just like that.
Great work from Long. Good footwork. Stood Nigel Vagana up, left him standing. Vagana had enough speed to get back and cover. But this English side, they've defended it extremely well. They've pushed hard off their line. And a couple of scrag tackles at the end. They just get out of jail and automatically back to halfway.
The second to last play there when Fiend went from acting half, it wasn't the play that they needed to do. They needed to build something, construct, and then look to deploy. Every play was just about going. But nothing being built that could even throw a threat at Great Britain.
O'Loughlin now goes to ground for the Lions. 1979, the last time they won here in the city of Christchurch. Facing their first win here in the Sharky Isles for the record since 92. One more tackle to play with here for the tourists. Newton, a dummy half. Hit of a knock on. There was a knock on.
10 metres in.
What a soft turnover against the Lions. Brian Noble, one of the great hookers for Great Britain for many years, of course. He would be livid with that.
Here's a flat ball from Stacey Jones to Kidwell. And from there it was Long who went all the way back upfield. That was the step he put on for Garner. He come back at him once again. But a mistake on the last play for sure has hurt Great Britain. They needed to get to a kick. We haven't seen any team yet defend back-to-back sets of 6. This could be when the first points will come.
15 minutes before half-time. Completion rates favouring New Zealand. Nathan Kalis flung to ground by his opposite number, Gareth Carvell from the Hull Football Club. And now Fa'alongo with another carry. He's been quite productive since his introduction. Fiend had to wait for it. Jones has got it. Now to Mannering, one of 2 South Islanders in this Kiwi lineup tonight. Former Nelson College schoolboy. Who's done awfully well since moving up to join the Warriors. Here's the last. Here's the kick. Pressure at the back on Price. He's got a good look at it. He did well looking up into the floodlights. And look at him go. Big winger. Can't play 5'8". He is a danger.
And unorthodox is a word that will describe Great Britain on many attacking plays. Something out of nothing. We saw Long with some good step, some good feet. And now Leon Price, the ability to catch the ball. There's all sorts of pressure coming down. And just a swivel turn and then put himself in space.
But again, the last play option, Ropo, you've got to question it. It was a nothing kick, really, uncontested, a free catch. You need more than that at this level. Stacey Jones had a couple of last play options, but the kicks that went to the air as well. What's wrong with trying to feed it in goal and trap them?
James Roby scheming, keeping the ball alive for the Lions. They go straight up the middle. One more tackle here for the Lions. Sean Long forced a pass. Maguire floats it. Gleeson, there's an overlap. Now a kick. Centralising play. But Brett Webb reads the play beautifully well. And he's got some pace. Can he go all the way? Here's the test. It's no test. Brett Webb, Aussie-born Kiwi, will score the first try of the test match in Christchurch. He salutes the fans. The Mad Butcher is on his feet. So too the supporters. The ones wearing black, that is. Up they go at Jade. He breaks the stalemate at 4-2, the first try with a kick coming up here from close range.
Well, Great Britain decide to run it on the last. And they go wide to the right-hand side, and then the kick comes in. Now you watch Webb here. He'll get a good fend on Carney. Now Brian Carney's a speedster, but one of the English will get in his road. I think it's Long. Have a look there. He had to hop and skip him as Long tried to make the tackle, and that brought about 4 or 5 metres extra for Webb. And from there, well, too good, too fast.
Well, we saw some specials down the other end with Leon Price and Sean Long, but Webby responds with more. But it is about Long getting in the way there of Carney that certainly obstructs. It makes it difficult for the speeds to be able to catch him. He possibly could very well have got Webby. A wonderful try.
Brent Webb grabbing his 6th try in Tri-Nations football. Raised in far north Queensland, pledging his allegiances, of course, in recent times to New Zealand. And now Stacey Jones, leading all-time scorer. Most points in Tri-Nations, that is. An injury-interrupted season with the Catalan Dragons in the south of France. The back on the test stage from close range. He could throw it over. Up go the flags. Up go the bench. Numbers in the frame. Jones converting the Webb try. 11 before the break. It's 6-2 to the Kiwis.
Brent Webb, well, he's known for his speed, but mainly his speed off the mark. Over 10, 20 metres, he's lightning and elusive, but his top end, it's not bad as well. Runs away from the British in the end. Good work, high involvement.
Calling for more talk is Webb.
Stay on.
And why not? Long with the restart.
Cosso from sideline. It was interesting to watch the reaction of the Great Britain bench when Brenwyn scored that try, because their shoulders sagged almost, and Steve Price, I wonder whether that was a little bit of a backbreaker when they've had a lot of possession this first 28, 29 minutes so far.
The possession play has changed a lot, and we've seen both Great Britain and New Zealand have it. New Zealand have got it at the moment, and it's certainly going to their favour.
Get that fly out of your throat, Pricey.
Hands off.
Have to give him a hat with corks. Here's Kalis. No, you can't use my Akubra. Feen with a nice pickup. He knows all about living in the bush. Born and bred in Mount Isa. Starting in a test match tonight. What an honour for him. He plays it back on the last. Ropati drills it over the top of Wellens. One bounce and dead in goal. Chop your foot off. But Jerome Ropati, way too much on that.
I think on the try there by Brent Webb, if I was Brian Noble, I don't know if I'll dwell on it at half-time. It was a play that could very well have ended on the halfway mark if Carney hadn't been obstructed by Long. They'll see that as being perhaps something against a run of play. But I don't know if it's a play that will certainly take the wind out of their sails.
Another subtle change coming sideline. Young Motu Tony, who we have seen before, now applying his trade with Hull FC, getting ready to get his boarding pass. This will be an interesting change to watch.
Yes, former Warrior, former Bronco, Brisbane that is, Castleford, and now Humberside had a good year as Maguire looks to go through for the Lions.
Doesn't he tease? One of the most exciting players in the English game. The ability to create something out of nothing and support as well as they go to Carney.
Carney with nowhere to go, has to come in field. They drill him, fumbles the ball, turns it over. In fact, Jones has got it for New Zealand.
England actually caught New Zealand down that blind side. Soliola was at the mark of play, which left Barlongo and also Vatuvai out there. And some good aggressive covering and scrambling. Sees the ball turn over, and New Zealand bring the ball back towards halfway.
Nathan Feen getting a blow. This is Kalis, Jason that is. There's the second phase. Here is Motu Tony, who can be dynamic, of course, off the bench against a tiring and retreating defensive line. Webb with the kick, Webb with the chase. Wellens has to work for it. Picks it up at his own goal line. A sense of urgency from the number one.
That was good kick from Webb. We've seen a couple of times Ropati take the last play option, and while it's good to see him step up to the plate and try these last play options, they haven't been great. This time Webb gets it on his left side, makes Great Britain work, makes them come back off their own line.
The Lions trailing by 4. This, of course, their first appearance in the 2006 Gillette Tri-Nations. First appearance in the Shaky Isles since 1999. Carting it upfield now for them is Peacock, their captain. He crosses the midway stripe, struggling for a quick play of the ball. Here's the last. There's the kick off the boot of Sean Long. Looks to find touch. He does find it. And the Lions will get a breather. And you get the impression they need it.
Fine kicker of the ball, Long. Possibly the best kicker of the ball in Great Britain and field in general play. Low, long drop punts. Either side, left-footed, kicks them back over to the right. Similar. Darren Lockyer.
What they're wanting more than anything right now is ability in their defensive game to be able to force an error, get some possession at the right end, and be able to mount some form of attack. Just under 8 minutes left on the clock before the halftime break.
Stacey Jones trying to do exactly what he did last week at the Telstra Dome. This time no penalty forthcoming. Just trying to deceive the opposition defensive line, needing to stand back the 5 metres from the feet of the lock forward. Here's Kidwell, picked up, dumped by the British defence. Roby in the thick of it, so too Senior. Here's Kalis, Jason that is.
Talk about Stuart Fielding coming off the field, boys. He's not very happy down here on the sideline, pacing up and down the sideline. He wants to get back out there. He wasn't happy to come off.
He's the sort of player, Stephen, that, of course, likes to think he can go the distance, and for a front rower, that, of course, is an honourable trait in the modern game.
When you're a player like him, you sort of pace yourself a bit, and obviously he was doing that, so to come off at this stage was pretty disappointing for him.
Disappointing outcome there with that kick as well from the Kiwis. They get an easy 20-metre tap restart here, the Lions.
Of course, the cricket season here in New Zealand not too far away, and this pitch here at Great Jade Stadium being rolled many a time is actually quite hard underfoot, which means the ball will bounce and roll a lot more than what you'd expect.
Just over 5 minutes to go before Oranges here at Jade Stadium. This is Carney. 5 short of halfway, centre of the ground, right on that cricket pitch area. James Roby, who provides some relief out of dummy half, can play 6, 7 or 9. There is Fielden. Wigan front row forward, of course, crossed the Pennines mid-season from Bradford, where he became well known both for the Bulls and also for the Lions. Here's the last, signalled by referee Simpkins. Long with the kick, not a bad one either. Plenty of hang time. Webb at the back, can't get it, and Tupou comes away with it. Goes backwards across field. He's made about 60 metres across the park, but gained about 3 and nearly got into touch.
Wonderful anticipation to come from the right-hand side, be able to get there and cover the field, and then pick up the spills that came his way as well, and so nearly getting around the outside. But Great Britain also so close to being able to find him, putting him into touch.
Soliola here will rise to play the football. Of course, he missed the series last year because of injury. Tucking it under the wing now, Nathan Kalis, Parramatta veteran, 15 short of halfway. Low scoring affair here in Christchurch. 6 plays to the locals leading the Lions. And they spread it to Vangana. The veteran goes on the inside to Fa'alongo. He's chopped down. Nice tackle it was from Gareth Hock.
Well read there by Stacey Jones as well. Leon Price on the left-hand side. He had dropped all the way back, anticipating a kick. The Kiwis then proceeded to go through the hands. And Leon Price, he had to come back into the line as quickly as he could.
Jones with the kick. Will it pull up? Will it what? Judicious. Beautifully weighted from the little general. An absolute torture for the opposing fullback. And Wellens knows it.
And Wellens does well. You can see Stacey Jones going to the tackle there. As Great Britain get a penalty with New Zealand not retiring the 10. They were trying to hold Wellens up, but he was good enough to get to ground to play the ball and then catch the Kiwis inside the 10.
Important time now, boys, with a couple of minutes before half-time. It's very important that England want to score, obviously, before half-time. New Zealand would like to score as well. So either way, it's going to be very important what the coaches say at half-time.
So the Lions now on the attack into enemy territory. Roby looking for runners. And a flat ball it was coming off Carvel. Plays allowed to continue. Sean Long was on the receiving end.
And when you got the line speed coming up and you're looking to target your carrier, you've got to have accuracy. Because there's some good feet on the other side.
Talk about inaccuracy. Lee Gilmore, 10-test match player for Great Britain. Can play second row, can play the centres. Well, he'd like to have that all over again.
Sloppy play to end the play. But you're right, the speed of the line, it was Kalis who run up out of the line. This is the end of the play here, and the ball's gone to no one. But then it was good presence of mind from Ruben Wiki when he saw Kalis go to go with him. Because if he didn't go with him, it would have created a big hole.
Clock ticking down towards half-time. New Zealand doing it nicely at the moment, albeit by just 4. Fa'alongo plays it back. Motu Tony picks it up. Looks for runners, finds Wiki. Flat ball, but okay. Tony goes the left side to Jones, the 2 former teammates. Back to Vangana. What a shot! What a tackle! Gilmore looking to make up for his fumble. And he's forced the mistake. What a play to spur on your teammates.
Ropati sits on the hip of Stacey Jones. Looks to find a hole on the inside, and as Stacey drops him off, look at the defence and the tackle. Does it get any better? Mid-air, jolts the ball loose. Ropati cops the ball on the player at the same time, and there, just loses control. Good play, good defence, read well.
Stay in, out.
And now the Lions with Gleeson to Carney. He centralises play. The Irishman not sure where to go. Head of obstruction. It was so close to a penalty. Listen to the booing, the heckling from the fans at Jade. Play on's the call. They spread it now, the Lions. Long over the top she goes. It comes to Price. He cuts back infield. He flicks it out the back. They keep it going. Here's Wellens. Beautiful football. Beautiful attacking football from the Pommies in Christchurch.
And put beautiful balance there by the number 1 as well, Paul Wellens, to be able to take the ball, spin around, half put through motion, going through the 360. Nice play.
Maguire looking to set it up out wide. Gleeson probing for a hole. Takes on Bartuvai. He's bitten off too much. He finds touch. There was too much defence there, but enterprising rugby league from the Great Britain Lions.
They went from side to side, and you wondered whether the Kiwis had gone to sleep for the last couple of minutes. Hurt them bad last week. They just get out of this. Tell me that's not a Shepherd. Brian Carney going in behind once again, and then the offload. And boy, it opened up here. And you watch Tame Tupou come in, and he has to. Nigel's caught in midfield. And this big ball over the top as Price will bring it back in. It was stacks on the mill and all hands on the pump for sure. Wellens did so well.
Brian Noble, some encouraging signs for the Great Britain coach, but after 40 minutes in their first game in the series, they are triallers. We have half-time at Jade Stadium in Christchurch, Game 3 of the Gillette Tri-Nations. 6-2 at the break to the Kiwis. Stick with us. More to come right after this.
You're live back at Jade Stadium in Christchurch in Game 3 of the Gillette Tri-Nations, and there is only 4 points in this one after the first 40 minutes. A vociferous crowd seeing Brent Webb score the only try of the first half, and there are certainly plenty of chances for the Great Britain side, Steve Price, to get back into this game. You've already said it a number of times during commentary, but possession in this one, I know it's not rocket science. Possession here could be the telling difference.
It will be, particularly for both sets of forwards, because both forwards have shown that if they have to defend for long periods, they're going to struggle. They're going to, their energy is going to be level. It's going to be a lot lower than what it needs to be. So the backs have been getting involved from both teams. But as you say, when you're defending on your line for long periods, it's going to take a lot of gas out of the team.
Well, there haven't been too many highlights from this first half, but we'll show you. And the one thing that's been interesting to note from this part of the world, or should I say this part of the ground, is that the left-hand side defence, where Stacey is defending, has been well sorted by Yosia Soliot and Manu Vatuvei, yet the Great Britain side continue to go down that side.
Great Britain obviously sees Stacey as a bit of a weakness defensively. The Aussies got a couple of tries down that side last week, but they have changed the centres and a few other positions, so that's obviously why it's defending a bit better this week.
Yeah, you did begin to wonder, though, why they wouldn't actually go down the right-hand side, because Tamo Tupou rushed up and he opened up a chance for Leon Price. But once again, the positioning play, too, of Brent Webb, where we're hitting his footwork, and you've seen plenty of his footwork to lead to the only try of the first half, is something to behold.
Taking your opportunities, and the Pommies have had a couple of opportunities, but there's been great cover defence from the Kiwi guys. So the difference there was it wasn't as good cover defence.
Yeah, the other thing too here is we look at the nice little step from the Queensland-born Kiwi Brent Webb, who has really stood out in this Tri-Nation so far, is that the kicking game of New Zealand still has to be worked on, because it's, both Jerome Ropati and Stacey have actually played some poor kicks.
Yeah, they have, but I think so are the Pommies. There was once when Peacock kicked the ball in the last tackle, so they've got very good kickers, but they aren't taking the options at the right time.
Completion rate by the Kiwis a lot better. The penalty count has been evened up by Paul Simpkins, and the line breaks, and particularly around the ruck area, that the Great Britain side have looked a lot stronger all through the first half.
Yeah, they have been, and they haven't taken the opportunities they have been given. You see the 3 line breaks, they haven't scored or got opportunities from those line breaks.
plenty of tackling being done by both teams, but I suppose around that ruck area, which was a concern for the Kiwis in game 1 against the Kangaroos, which may have led to those 11 missed tackles, is something they're going to have to address at half-time.
Yeah, the only time that the right-hand side for the Kiwis has looked ordinary is when they've been going in and not sticking in the first point of contact with the defence. So, you know, if they can get that point of contact right, the Kiwis aren't going to miss any tackles.
All right, it's only 4 points in this one. Game 3 of the Gillette Tri-Nations. There is a whole lot more on the other side, so do not go far. This one's still got a great 40 to come.
Welcome back to Jade Stadium here in the Garden City of Christchurch. Game 3, Gillette Tri-Nations 2006. Finally, of course, we get to see Great Britain down under. And finally, we get to see whether they can deliver on the road, something that they have a record not too proud about. And at the moment, though, we've got a game on our hands, a 4-point ball game. In fact, just the one try in the opening 40 minutes. It's the Kiwis 6-2 at the split.
More importantly, I think, Costa, that it's not so much the journey or the road that they're on at the moment, but it's about whether or not they can stay in this game. Some signs coming in towards the back end of that first 40 that they're starting to lose touch. Perhaps not indicated on the scoreboard, but their execution. At halftime, Coach Brian Noble perhaps might be suggesting, hey, don't worry, a little rusty. But whether or not mentally they front up in the opening 10 remains to be seen.
The first 15 of the first half for the Great Britain side was great. They completed just about everything, got to their kicks. Their kicks were good from long, applied some pressure, and it was the Kiwis who come up with some mistakes. In the last 25, the English game, I don't think they got to the back end or their last play more than once or twice. That hurt them badly. 63% completion isn't going to win you a test match. For New Zealand, well, it was possibly maybe the poorest half of footy they've had in the Tri-Nations so far. A couple of uncharacteristic errors, some drop balls. In this 40 minutes, they'll need to have possibly the word accuracy in their minds. Keep going through their plays, use the 1%ers, and get to the back end. Points will come.
Great Britain, interestingly, have won 5 of their last 6 against the Men in Black. And, of course, their most recent encounter before this one at Knowsley Road mid-season. A bit of a debacle, of course. The Lions winning that 46-14 against an understrength New Zealand side, and different story, of course, tonight. As we get set for the second half, Ruben Wiki and Jamie Peacock leading their respective sides down the tunnel here at Jade.
Guys standing sideline here with one of the assistant coaches for Great Britain and Dave Lyons. Dave, what was said in the dressing rooms at half-time?
Oh, we're just looking for a little bit more ball control. To get in the arm wrestle a little bit earlier with a good kick chase, so let's play it in their half of the field. You know, we're well in this ball game. We're not panicking at all. We want to start completing our sets and turning the screw a little bit better than we have been doing.
In other words, you're pretty happy?
Yes, we're pretty happy.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Jamie Peacock, the Lions captain, having a bit to say as the visitors await the restart here. Here we go, second half action underway in Christchurch. Deep restart or kick off it was, and Brent Webb has fallen off the cliff at the back. Over the in goal he went. He just couldn't balance himself. Deep kick off it was as we watched the replay, and right there he thought about it. Well, he just couldn't do it.
Had a great first half, Brent Webb, but here's a tip for you young fullbacks at home. Stand behind the goal line and walk into the field of play if you're going to catch the ball. That'll give you an idea whether the ball's going to go out. Don't go backwards to catch those balls. Come forward to them.
Good coaching tip from the former Super Boot, Daryl Halligan, in commentary tonight alongside myself and Peter Roparty, Steve Price, downstairs here tonight. What a blunder. What a start for New Zealand. All of a sudden we've got Great Britain on the attack. Sean Long scheming in a mix-up out wide. That pass seemed to go loose to Sean O'Loughlin. Somehow he was able to reel it in.
It'll be interesting to see if they continue with what they did in the first 40, which is just about shifting it, or will they start to look for some decoys or even coming across the grain.
Kiwis kept on their own goal line. All of a sudden under pressure. Long threading the needle. Webb at the back. He got away. He got away. No, he didn't. They come again. Illegally, though. He called Hal said the referee. The Lions thought they were entitled to finish the job. Not so, according to Simpkins.
Well, Brent Webb does so well to clean up. Johnny on the spot. And I think the English are hard done by here, or the Great Britain team is hard done by there. I don't believe he's held there. They're entitled to push him back and play there. Yeah, I'm with you too. Referee, you got that one wrong.
And talk about blunder city. 2 big ones in the opening 2 minutes. Can you believe that? They couldn't find touch. Dear oh dear. Great Britain again find themselves on the attack. Talk about a leg up to start the second half.
And we talk about decoys or perhaps running across against the grain, but also look at the short kicking game as well. Long's already put one to boot. Expect that to come a little bit more often as well.
Roby darting from dummy half, looking to promote the football. Motu Tony is there, but again, they don't wrap up the ball carrier. Here's the second phase. Hock goes wide, keeps it alive. Keith Senior now. And the big Leeds Rhinos centre 3/4 is finally rounded up by Nigel Vangenaar. Good battle, that one out wide. Great Britain now on the attack with Peacock, the captain, standing, again threatening to offload the Lions. One more tackle to play with here for the visitors. New Zealand camped on their own goal line. Long goes to Wellens. He spreads it to Gleeson. Gleeson from close range. Can he get there? He's shut down. And Great Britain are denied.
Again, they run it on the last. Gleeson gets his chance to attack Soliola one-on-one. They isolate it to 2-on-2. He's got good footwork, Gleeson. Have a look at it. Tries to step him on the inside. Get him going one way. Chop him on the inside and back yourself to get low and over. Did well. Good defence. And nice to see the Great Britain side attacking out wide.
Guys, once again, that defensive left-hand side of the Kiwis is working well. One guy that had a huge defensive and offensive game in Melbourne last week is with me now, Shontaine Harvey. Shontaine, what did Bluey say at half-time?
Well, he was happy with the boys' performance. He just wanted us to try and slow the play the ball down. We're getting too much play the ball and just to tighten up around the rucks.
Are you doing it tough on the sideline, mate?
Yeah, I'm gutted. I'm not out there with the boys, but the boys are going strong, and you know, we're only 40 minutes away from victory.
All right, good luck, mate.
Cheers, man.
Now, thanks to Shontaine Harpy, of course, part of that victorious side for the Kiwis at Allen Road last year in the Tri-Nations final.
Hasn't he played well as Kalis, as he did in Melbourne last week, coming off the bench? Good meters.
Webb with the kick. Wellens now with the carry on the bounce. Some of these British forwards slowly but surely getting back on side. Just the one try in the test match thus far, courtesy of Brent Webb. What a try it was.
And the work by both pairs of wingers for the respective sides, all been willing to get in there. They've worked exceptionally well coming out. And a nice little exit for the Great Britain side as well. Another infringement at the play the ball.
4-4 the penalty count.
The involvement of Brian Carney, the Irish winger in this team, is immense. He just loves the dummy half run. Gets in there, works hard early in the set of 16, gets out. Here he is taking the ball up, cops a big hit. A bit slow hands all over the ball there. Great involvement. Did it all year for Newcastle, now doing it for Great Britain.
Storming run from Gareth Hock. And Great Britain, look at this, on the attack, perhaps a high shot on Roby. Now they're only about 15 out from the goal line. Maguire's got it. Comes back towards the defence, he takes the tackle. Nathan Kalis was there to shut him down. And now charging. Peacock, out the back door she comes. Price has got the scraps, he beats one, he beats two. He looks to set it up, Maguire for the line, he will get there. What a try for Great Britain there, first for the night, subject of confirmation. Maguire, no stranger to getting 4 points, and it was laid on a platter, courtesy of Leon Price.
Brilliant work, right up the middle of the ruck, great angles, but the referee was right, Johnny on the spot, and has Webb done enough and whacked the ball out? He certainly has. Magic play, Brent Webb. Just got a hand in there. Boy, oh boy.
Well, the try goes begging. For all money, he was there. He's claiming there was a strip. He's claiming it was no fault of his.
Well, that's exactly it. That's what comes into play now as to whether or not it's been knocked on by Brent Webb. And then what you've got is pressure being applied there by Maguire.
2 video referees, one from Australia, the other from New Zealand. They say no try. Maguire is denied. Well, we'll hear more about this as we watch the replay.
They did so well. First of all, at the back, the angles. Have a look at it here. He goes low, and Webb, do not underestimate the amount this guy offers to the team. If he's kicking the ball, he work out a dummy half, he jumps in there, gives him a spell, then he comes up with those plays at the back.
But DJ, this is a big play going against Great Britain. Could feel aggrieved the fact there that they should have at the very least found themselves in possession of this football. Not to be.
Guys, the interesting point sideline, the wind has turned right around. It's now at the back of the Great Britain side, and the Great Britain side that have an ability, Steve Price, to offload at will at the moment.
Yeah, they're running very hard, the forwards, and they're getting a lot of offloads, which is causing problems for the Kiwi team.
Now doing some tough stuff for New Zealand. Jason Kalis. Rather sluggish play the ball. Looks like he's been hurt in that tackle. Here's Ruben Wiki now, the New Zealand captain. 1994, he made his test debut. Sloppy play the ball, but play is allowed to continue.
Costo Kalis is not well. He is in Never Never Land at the moment. He is in big trouble.
Well, he's being tended to by the trainer as we see Wellens play it back. Here is Kalis, and yes, he's coming straight to the sideline as Carney helps out his tiring forwards. Jason Kalis, back from the north of England, back to the bench. He is busted at the moment, and Kidwell back on the park. Maguire goes across now to Gareth Carvel. He's a fair love of a lad from the whole club into enemy territory by about 6 metres or so. He plays it back, and Roby goes to Long. Sean Long with a cutout pass. It comes across now to Hock. He's got some pace, still going. They've lost it. He's spitting chips. The match officials, they won't have a bar of it.
Dangerous. That's what you call this Great Britain side down the left-hand edge. Again, they go to Vagana, and they get him on the inside first, and then they strip him on the outside. He comes again, but there's a player on the inside, and if that ball comes free on the inside, it's try time.
We've got another Kiwi down, so it looks like, to me, Simon Mannering, and he looks in all sorts of bother.
And that happened in the play before. We saw just as Jason Kalis was coming off, the next play, Simon Mannering was involved in the tackle. He found it difficult to get back into the defensive line. All sorts of bother.
22 tackles already tonight for Mannering, but now having some difficulty to continue. Back on his feet.
He's from Hardy country, mate. He's a South Island boy.
Well, there's one there on the bench, perhaps not feeling as well right now, Jason Kalis. But that last play there again, Great Britain disappointed. And this was the play leading up to it. Jason Kalis shot.
Stay with him at the back, trainer.
A hand to the shoulder there, maybe just finding contact with the head, but certainly enough to do the damage.
Out the back.
Great Britain on that last play there, a ball that was certainly knocked down by Brent Webb again. I can imagine there's going to be a lot of discussion points post-match. A lot of referee decisions just not finding luck on their part.
Here's Mannering, having recovered from that knock. He is dealt with by the Lions in defence. 3 in the tackle. They peel off one by one. Motutoni looking for runners. He finds Kidwell.
Costo just spoke to the Kiwi doc. Jason Kalis did take a knock to the head, but he can remember everything, which means concussion's out of the story.
Well, that's much better than perhaps some of the fans might have been thinking as he left the playing surface. Tony now takes a heavy knock himself, centre of the ground, 7 short of halfway. Here comes the last for New Zealand. They come this short side. And Brent Webb puts boot to ball. He'll be playing against a lot of these Lions, of course, next year when he links up with the Leeds Rhinos, finding a new home at Headingley.
Very slow set of 6, that one from the Kiwis, not making great ground. And their kick coming just some 35 metres out. Is now Soliola seems to collect one of his own players and bashes himself up. And watch the speed of the play the ball from this Great Britain side in this set of 6. 3 tackles and they're already at halfway.
Well, it's an opportunity for Great Britain now to get back into this game. There's a sense that it's starting to shift. Couple of force changes on the Kiwis with Simon Mannering picking up a slight injury. Jason Kalis having to come off. Some changes forced on the coaching staff of the Kiwis. Now it's Great Britain's time if they want to play.
And now the chant goes up. There's trouble brewing. No, there's no trouble. Great Britain have caused their own trouble. Obstruction's the call. The penalty's been given. Come back, Sean Long.
The setup for this play with a short runner and then the one round the back, well, it doesn't afford you the option to run yourself. You've got to pass to one or the other. You can't run that ball. That's out of the game.
The Kiwi backline starting to resemble a MASH unit. Actually, that ball's mine. Manu Vadavai just getting attention to a knock on the head. Soliota about to get the ball back in, and Ruben Wiki taking some attention as well. So it's all go. And look out, Big Fielden's getting to come ready to come back on as well.
And just for the record, Stephen actually dropped that ball.
Back. Well, I'm not the biggest guy in the world, am I?
Well, speaking of big, Fa'alongo, you wouldn't want to meet him in a dark alley in the back streets of South Sydney. He goes to ground, he plays it back, and the Kiwis all of a sudden find themselves 20 out from the British goal line. Not too many options there on that occasion for Brett Webb as Stuart Fielden surveys the play from the bench, from the sideline. Half an hour to go in the test match. Still no change to that halftime score. Jones running the show, running the football. Kidwell picked off beautifully. Good tackle from Gilmore. They come the right side. Webb dabs it behind the line. And there was some drama brewing there. Some danger signs for Leon Price out wide for the Lions.
Nice touch. Webb off his left foot, inside foot. Gets a good kick in, and Stacey Jones is the one who I want to find a short kicking game. Where is it? I love it. Yet to put one in goal. This time he gives it to Webb to do last play option for the first time. A repeat set of 6. Building pressure.
Finally, we have a goal line dropout right in front of the Hadley stand here at Jade Stadium. Wellens with the restart. He's opposite with the catch. And now Nathan Cales put away on tackle 1. Wiki, the man they call Jake the Muss. What a competitor he has been for Canberra, the Warriors, New Zealand for so many years. Now to Jones, they keep it going. Bunganar, he takes the tackle. They come back the open side now. Kidwell, one off the ruck, goes to Jones. Now to Webb, the run around Jones. Lovely play, good stuff. It's building for the Kiwis. Back to Jones, and now Webb looking for a double. He's very close. 3 metres out.
Great tackle, senior.
Battle stations for the Lions. Jones under pressure. Was Maguire offside? No, says the referee. Road Party looking to slice through. They're offside, says the referee. Great Britain, not back the 10, not back on the goal line. 6 more coming up. It's a tap and go for Motutoni. Charging towards the goal line. Nathan Cales, tackle 1, just short. Motutoni burrowing from close range is held up.
Tackle 2.
Had a stab, has been denied. The whole utility and former Warrior will have to come back and play it here on the 10-metre line. Still 4 tackles to play with for the men in black. Looking to extend their lead, a low-scoring affair as Jones considers his options. He goes to Webb. Now there's an overlap perhaps. Vangana is stopped. Big pressure on the Lions out wide.
Again, senior with a tackle.
They come back to Jones at first receiver. He holds up the pass. Road Party, and now Motutoni has got there. Did he get it down? You betcha. Motutoni back in the Kiwi test jumper. Back from the north of England. He comes up with New Zealand's 2nd try. And the Kiwis hit double figures at Jade.
Wonderful stuff, Motutoni. If there's a word that describes his performance here tonight, it's been one of persistence. He's come in for Nathan Feen and he's just persisted out of the acting half. But this is a nice play, varying his game. This time, he's the receiver of the ball. He looks to become a runner. But they kept the ball alive, they shifted it, they tested the defence. Keith England on a number of occasions coming up with some wonderful efforts to be able to deny the Kiwis. Jerome Ropati nearly, but then Motu. Wonderful stuff. Persistence finds reward.
Great play. The depth of the players on the outside afford Jerome Ropati to offload the short ball to Motutoni right under the post. There were players stacked up on the left and deep and wide, which held the English defence out. And then a nice little short ball to Motutoni. Good football.
Tony, of course, one of the stars for Hull FC as they got through to the Super League decider at the Theatre of Dreams. Wasn't quite the dream that he wanted, but he certainly had a magical year for the black and whites.
And pleasing that they would find results or points at the back end of all that possession, the dropout, the penalties, and the points.
Jones with another sitter. He makes no mistake. Another 2 points to the cause for New Zealand. They lead this 12-2 against the Lions. Webb and then Tony. Tries on either side of the split.
Go, mate.
Great Britain in no hurry here to get us back underway. 15 minutes gone into the second half.
But foremost in their mind is the fact that they do need to score next in the context of this game.
Sean Long sends us into the next passage of play, and a mistake at the back by Webb. Somehow he's propelled the footy back towards his own goal line, and the Kiwis with a lucky break.
Well, they talk about the football gods. Sometimes they're with you and sometimes they're not. There's been a few tonight that would suggest they're being looked after.
Well, he fluffed one from the restart just after the break, and almost an encore. Lions now looking to muscle up in defence. Nathan Kalis submits in a three-man British tackle. Mannering tucks it under the wing, takes the tackle. The two bookends for the Lions. Morley and Fielden making the tackle on the last. Rowe Party with the kick. Not too much depth about it. And Carney having a shocker. Remember that game, of course, that he played in London a couple of years ago. Would have perhaps been thinking, what is happening here?
The kick from Rowe Party, a wobbly old one back across the ruck. And the wobbly one provided the bounce that beats Carney. He recovers and gets him going forward.
Newton, the Bradford hooker, just beyond the 30-metre line. Price, out of dummy half, big man, good step, great pass, straight up the middle. Maguire's got it. Fantastic support play. And this excitement machine called Maguire, who's been denied already, will have to play it here, and they get a penalty. Too much interference, maybe a professional foul, not quite, according to the referee.
They scramble, and David Kidwell just holds on just that little bit too long. It was the last play as well, so it gives them a repeat set.
Morley on report after that shot on Wiki in the opening exchanges. Long goes across out wide, looking for penetration. The Lions, nothing forthcoming this time for Gareth Hock. Long, almost a mix-up, looking for runners. He goes to Maguire. Back on the inside, Gilmore now. The St Helens second rower or centre three-quarter is chopped down by Mannering. Jones upstairs, and now it's Newton out of dummy half looking for runners. Ellis for the line, so close is he? Can he release the footy? Has it been stripped? No way! The Kiwis, they dodged another bullet.
And Newton is filthy with number 9. He went to the left-hand side and he only had one option. That was to play the ball back on the inside. He wanted runners. He wanted options on the outside. Denied. Great Britain, perhaps an opportunity lost.
Kidwell taken by Keith Senior. There were plenty of arms and hands in there.
And perhaps the third play where it just hasn't found success going in favour of Great Britain. Every play that they're perhaps entitled to claim that there's a sense of stripping has not gone their way.
Crowd tonight just over 17,000. David Fa'alongo is getting some running repairs downstairs.
Checking the jaw area, asking about the bite, putting pressure on the jaw, suggests a cheekbone injury. David Fa'alongo, as Kidwell been strong tonight, leads the charge, takes the head up.
Motu Tony goes the short side. It was well read by the defence, namely Price. Getting his boarding pass there, Jason Kalis. Here's Nathan, one off the ruck going to Azatazi. And Ropati is devoured by the Lions' defence. Newton there to finish him off. Pritchard, big unit, one-on-one tackle. Do they come any better than that? Pat on the back for Allison, why not? Nathan Kalis at the back door. Tony, Webb, looking for runners, finds Ropati. He takes a buck, he takes a hit. One more to play with for the Kiwis. Jones, Kenwood, flat passing, play on. Vartuvo, thrusting himself at the defence, can't keep the football going.
They shifted wide, they were flat at best. I thought the last pass might have been a touch forward, but they run it on the last, can't get to the kick.
We move into the final quarter of this Test match here at Jade Stadium, Game 3 of the Gillette Tri-Nations. Our first look at the Lions in this series. Of course, they're off to Sydney next Saturday night to take on the Kangaroos. And of course, New Zealand on the flip side, they've got an excursion to the west coast here in the Shaky Isles. They're off to play the New Zealand A side at Wenham Park, Greymouth next Saturday. New Zealand resident side, in fact, 3 o'clock kickoff Saturday afternoon. At the moment, though, the main thing is for them to get their first win in this series. At the moment, they're a fair way to doing that. They lead 12-2, and there's pressure on Phelan and the Lions.
And also pressure on the game breakers, and that's Maguire, and that's Long. If they're going to find some points, it's going to be on the back of these. Maguire putting it to the air, and as soon as it left his foot, he knew that it was wrong. He knew that it had gone bad.
Play on's the call, a comedy of errors. Webb's got it, zigzagging his way upfield. What a run. What an entertainer. And he gets a whack in the head. Adrian Morley has lit the fuse. Already on report. Looking to start a bushfire in Christchurch.
He comes in and screams, he ragdolls.
Nothing silly, nothing silly, okay? It's frustration, nothing silly.
Simpkins had a chat to him, but I actually think he was trying to rip the ball out more than nut him. Let's have a look at it. The knee comes in there. Oh, no, you're right. Unorthodox. Little tap on the nut.
Mate, the only thing missing there was the jandal, and it would have been complete. Adrian Morley. The opening stanza of this game, we raised concerns about his style and whether or not he's one that predetermines and then fails to adjust. Not quite sure what's doing on that one.
For the benefit of our Australian audience watching this one through Fox Sports, the jandal, of course, being a thong. Live on Fox on the other side of the Tasman. Thanks for joining us as New Zealand makes some inroads. Risky pass, risky business. Fortune favours the brave.
Kalis to Kalis, brother to brother.
Pass comes across now to Soliola.
Stand up.
20 metres out from the Great Britain goal line. Ropati just showing it. And the big body contact continues here at Jones. As Atazi plays it back, they go to Jones. Will he run? Yes, he does. The little general posing some questions. On the last, the Pommies camped on their own goal line. Good pick up from Tony. Excellent kick. Here's the chase. Oh, that's so close, but not enough to warrant. Yes, there is. He will check the tape.
Just have a look.
Safety first from the referee. Just for a second, I thought he was going to bring it back to the 20. They will just check here because there was something on offer here for the Kiwis.
I think he was exactly doing that, going back to the 20 metre, and then it was only under protest that he was asked to reconsider. Well, and at first glance, I thought it done exceptionally well, but the ball certainly hit there by Pritchard.
Have a look at the hand from Welland late. Yeah, he's played at the ball for sure. But the kick from Motu Tony was fantastic, well weighted.
The other thing they're checking here, of course, with the benefit of the replay, is who's it come off and what will be the end result. It's obviously no try.
Well, it comes off Welland's first, and then it's Frankie Pritchard's arm who comes off last. But is the ball already dead by the time Pritchard touches it?
Yeah, what we're not seeing there is, and this will show us where Welland is right now. He's in the field of play. and he is there as well. There's a possible hint there that the ball actually does come off him, the Great Britain fullback.
Just repeating, 2 video referees, Chris Ward from Australia, Grant Wallace here from New Zealand. And we will have a tap restart. Fortunately for Great Britain, look at this, it's a tap and go, but talk about getting out of the stalls early.
Steve, in the first 20 minutes of this game, we've seen the bench in New Zealand really tested, and I'm surprised that Nathan Fien is still sitting there some 23 minutes into the second half. Mori Tony's had a big period out on the field for his first involvement. Be interested to see Fien back shortly.
Yeah, that's right, mate, but I think when they do put him back on there, he's certainly going to have an impact the last probably 12 or 13 minutes of this game. Just talking about the referee, I think he's had a very good game in controlling this match.
Stephen Price getting in early. The next season, perhaps. Warriors captain, nice to have you with us in commentary tonight. Here's Gareth Ellis with a quick play of the ball. Simpkins, the NRL Grand Final referee, of course, in charge here tonight. This is Gleeson. On the last, Newton crowding across field, goes to Maguire. The long, he's under immense pressure. Now he can set himself with a kick. Not a bad kick, is it? No, way too deep, out on the full. Idea was right, the execution was terrible.
Costa, remember that execution though is being aided by probably about a 15-knot wind going left to right behind the backs of the Great Britain side.
We'll check the windsock.
Mate, I'm looking at the windsock. It is blowing.
The pressure from the New Zealand defence on the right-hand side. They raced up some 20 metres to get involved in that, to cut it off out wide. It meant Long only had one option, and that was to go up and over. And under pressure, the execution, not great. Not for a player of his standard.
Well, this was always going to be such a defining series for Sean Long. We've seen him delivered time and time again for St Helens, but this is the big test here on the world stage.
Well, the test that was spoken about in the opening quarter of this game and raised by Steve Price was the fact that this game was going to be about territory, and who dominated could very well find themselves at the right end of the scoreboard. We just saw the stats there suggesting the Kiwis, they've certainly ground out this game. They've stayed in the grind, they've stayed in the arm wrestle, and been able to find some points on the back end of it.
The kick's been charged down. Jones looking for it. Was that offside? No, 6 to go. Here's Webb playing to the whistle. Keeps it going. Here we go. A try to New Zealand out of nothing. But they will check the tape. I've got my suspicions. Celebrations around Jade. New Zealand claiming their 3rd try of the night.
There was certainly a hint that the ball had come off a Kiwi player and been propelled forward. The Great Britain side right now are just hanging in this game.
This will be a defining moment. Jones goes up and over the top. The ball's tapped up there. Stacey, does he make a play at it? Does he touch the ball? We'll need a closer shot than that. I think it's Peacock, the captain, who makes the play at the ball first. Let's have a look. It's touched here. Stacey decides to get involved, and it's Pritchard who's in front of him. So does it touch Stacey's hand there? If it does, obviously that puts Pritchard in an offside position. From here, no problems from here. Good footwork back to Webb.
But the question still in there is whether or not Alice actually touched that ball, or whether or not it was Stacey forwarding it onto him. This one will show you. Keep an eye out. There's Alice there, and that perhaps could be his arm touching the ball, knocking into the hands of Pritchard.
I'll have one more look at it, I'm sure. Is it the hand of Alice? Now, the hand of Alice is above the hand of Stacey Jones.
Which you'd expect.
Which you would expect, and the ball does not go anywhere near Stacey's hands. If you're riding this try like I am, no problem. Well, it's come off the English hand. He's batted it back.
The referee's got to give the benefit there to Stacey, surely, with his height.
So says the man who doesn't like benefit of the doubt.
Well, Steve Price has given us his 2 bobs worth, and I'll tell you what, if you look downstairs, body language says anything.
He's copping it. You just stay down there.
Another contentious call. They've given it. It's a try. Simpkins points to the spot, and the Kiwis head for their first game, first win, I beg your pardon, in this series. A touch-and-go call it was. They give the 4 points.
And boy, that man Webb again, he is in everything, doing, scoring points and saving them. This time he's involved in the last play and the last pass. You have a look at this pass. He takes the players on, goes between 2. No Soliola's there. Carney tries to stop him, and Soliola gets that big right mitt, Michael Jordan style, I said last week, and just plants it.
DJ a little critical of the first 40 minutes of the Kiwis, but they've got themselves in this arm wrestle, and they've played the territory, and they've been patient, and they've come up with opportunities that have gone their way. Pricey, you must love benefit of the doubt now.
Oh, I was just saying, mate, that, you look at Stacey's height, surely he wouldn't have been able to touch a ball that high.
Fair point indeed. Speaking of the little general, 2 from 2 tonight.
Vertically challenged, are you suggesting?
Oh, he's just shorter than most players in the field.
Certainly not short in terms of stature. What a player he has been since making his Winfield Cup debut. Yes, that's exactly what they called it. Way back in 1995. There's the angle. There's the kick. He's nailed it. Another 2 points in the bank for the men in black. And they are coasting now at 18-2 with 11 to go.
Been a little fortunate, New Zealand, a couple of occasions in the second half. Had a rub of the green, certainly go their way. Touches like that end up being big plays.
Mannering stretching out on the sideline. A shallow restart from the Lions. Bouncing ball, could go anywhere. Kiwis have got it, and away goes Pritchard.
And for a minute then it looked as though it was a rewind to what we saw 7 days ago. Pritchard playing in the A's. He was in outstanding form.
You saw Morley there too, rushing out of the line. It's come off the legs there, according to the referee. Here's Pritchard again injecting himself. There's Morley rushing out of the line, looking to force the mistake. And then, of course, he sails so close to the wind so often. Here's Asatazi.
And there was an opportunity if Roy had looked to the right as well. He had Senior rush up. He left 2. They had numbers of Kiwis. Asatazi again with the ball.
Inside the final 10 minutes of the test match, Nathan Feen going to Kidwell. A risky pass it was. Sean Long read the play well. Has been fixed up, Kidwell, courtesy of Price. Senior also involved for the Lions. We come back to Jones. Now the crossfield kick. Looking for Vatuvai or somebody. Soliola got it. Kept it alive. The referee says no, come back here. Well, for mine, he's played to the whistle. He's kept the ball alive. He should be entitled to do so.
Possibly blew the whistle a little bit quick. Soliola goes up and lands on his back. New Zealand caught inside the 10. Vatuvai hasn't had much to do in the second half, trying to get himself involved. Just a little bit keen, a little bit ginger.
Well, the Lions, they are staring down the barrel. Poor reputation when it comes to getting results on the road. Roby looking for a hole. 9 metres. New Zealand side of halfway. Maguire. Long. Ducking and weaving.
And again, good line defence there by the Kiwis, pushing up, forcing the options, forcing in the way that you want them to run. They had no other play but to go straight back up the middle. And the invitation was accepted.
A patched up Wiki, stalking on the sideline. A kick from Newton, a nothing kick, a dud kick. And Webb's got, he's not complaining.
Had a wonderful game tonight, the fullback. Taking a little bit of a knock we saw on the play not too long ago, holding that chest area. And still remaining just a little crouched there in background.
If you did join us late, the Lions had an early lead, courtesy of Sean Long, with a penalty goal. But the man on screen, he came good for the Kiwis with the try. 11 before the break. 6-2 it was to New Zealand. Now the margin is 16. And
we talked at the top of tonight's match about how appropriate that they were having this game this week on the back of the defeat last week to allow them to continue. But I think also next week they get a bit of a reprieve when they get to play a local New Zealand resident side. Because certainly there's a few injuries down there right now. Brent Webb could very well be the next.
Wellens throwing caution to the wind. Here's Price winding up from long range. He offloads Wellens down the flank. Got rid of one, trying to get rid of a couple. Not quite, but he got it back to halfway.
And Ruben Wiki doing the chasing as well over there. Marvellous to see the number 8 out on the far right flank. Good work from Price.
The wonderful thing about Ruben Wiki tonight defensively is the number of times that he's been able to get over there and cover up mistakes. Been outstanding defence.
Peacock, the captain, looking to inspire his side. He keeps it going. The Lions still going, pushing these passes. And
he's been good, created some spark.
He plays it back. Gleeson, a nothing pass, almost a fumble. Phelan had to settle himself. He lashes out at a couple of would-be defenders, and now Gleeson looks to set up Carney in the corner. Carney, this pocket battleship, is trapped down by Jones. 5 metres out. New Zealand on their own goal line. Maguire at first receiver. Look at the hole. Now there's a kick. Here's a chase. Will they get the bounce? Yes, they do. Wellens scampers across, and the Lions get their first try of the tournament. Great Britain with some hope. The flame still flickers here. 18-6 with a kick to come.
Brilliant play. Love it. Nice little kicking game. Great Britain are good at this. The Kiwi defence goes up, and watch Kidwell. He races right out of the line, and that creates a bit of a hole to put the kick through. And from there, it's not easy to do. Players all converging on the one spot. A left-footed kick, nicely weighted, just bounced on the try line. And the presence of mind to pick it up right at the end with Wellens. Brilliant. Well done.
Well constructed, and the player that you mentioned that in the lead up there, that's certainly given the Great Britain side a little bit of a spark. It's what he does for St Helens. He comes on and gives Kieran Cunningham a bit of a breather, but more often than not, it also changes the dynamics of the game. Welland been outstanding, just as Brent Webber's on the other side. But look at the number 14. The number 14 and James Roby. He's been stunning.
They have converted the try. Long doing the honours. So it's 18 points to 8 with 5 to go. And here we go again, fellas. 7 days after that Harry Houdini-like performance by the Kangaroos in Melbourne.
For a minute then, I thought you were making or about to make reference to your call.
I did say surely. Your copy of Hansard, if you like. Here we go. Jones off the tee. Great Britain mathematically still a hope. Trailing by 10 at the wrong end of the ground. Morley, hard and straight from the enforcer. Back from suspension, of course, here tonight. Carney making some inroads, putting his body on the line. Not restrained, entitled to keep going. That's exactly what he does.
And who's covering the tackle again? Wiki.
Desperation it was from the New Zealand captain. Long. The Kiwis up quickly in defence. They forced the mistake. Take a bow. Nigel Vungana read it beautifully for the Kiwis.
Once again, we've praised it all night, the right-hand defence, and this man Carney's coming into his own. Really creative out of dummy half. When it gets a little bit loose, you want this guy in there. He's like a pocket rocket, strong, unconventional out of there, but effective. And then on the right-hand side, when England decide to go left, the long pass, the pressure in defence, it goes loose and coughs the ball up. And New Zealand needed that. The last 5 minutes of the game, you want the ball in your hands. We saw that last week against Australia. New Zealand just didn't get the ball. They want to keep the ball here.
Another tradesman-like performance tonight from Wiki, and this is 53rd Test match. The Kiwis, you get the impression now they're going in for the kill, for and against, so important in this competition, but there is a fumble.
Just as we say, you want to hold on to the ball. A couple go out the back first from Wiki. Hit, stop, spin. Kidwell doesn't get it under pressure. Great Britain set the scrum, and that should stop the clock.
Well, the clock's ticking away, in fact. You would think the timepiece would be stopped. He signalled time back on, but the clock was winding down. You work it out back at home. What we do know is that Great Britain are facing a first-up defeat in this 2006 Gillette Tri-Nation Series. Had the warm-up game against that Newcastle combination, of course, leading into this first appearance in the series. Peacock now tackled 5 short of halfway. And a fumble. Stuart Phelan throws the steed in the way in disgust. Once talked up as the best front rower in international football, he throws the footy away as if resigned to the inevitable here in Christchurch tonight.
Just thinking a little bit possibly what he's going to do with the ball. and his front row partner outside him. Ruben Wiki, look at that picture. Brilliant.
Well,
fatigued. He has had a whale of a game.
Well played, he says. Here's Kidwell. Family and friends, no doubt, in the crowd here tonight. Local boy come good. The Kiwis now, with less than 2 to go, poised to open their account in this series. Here's Fiend going to Ropati. Ropati takes them on. Senior's there, makes the tackle. Wiki still toiling away with 90 seconds to go. Fiend looking for runners, goes himself. His second test match. One-time Queensland Origin player, of course. Jones with the kick. Wellens is there to clean up. Good mop-up operation at the back from Paul Wellens.
Does well. Stacey Jones squeezing the ball through the line. Very narrow gap. And Wellens had a good game at the back for Great Britain. And Carney. Get a hand on him, someone. He's difficult.
Wellens certainly among the best of the British here tonight as they keep trying at the death. Maguire almost running out of real estate. Came up with a juggle. Now he takes the tackle. Just over 30 seconds to go here. Great Britain, they'd love to crack the try line for another consolation 4-pointer. Long, chipping over the top. Will he get the bounce? Will he? What? Great play from the number 7. He goes to Price. Price for the line, back in field. They keep it going. The Lions will get the consolation. What a prize it is. Spectacular try. Gareth Ellis planting the football over the line. Great Britain, subject to confirmation, have their second try of the test match.
He's checking for an obstruction out wide. And while it won't affect the result of the game, points for and against, the only beneficiary. Long did so well, nice challenge. That pass looked all right, happy with that. Price, he'll step in. And Senior, well, Barganar's probably decided to tackle the player and made his own decision. Perfect little chip. Love watching this, great skill. Watch the bounce, pick up, left-hand take, nice work. Links with Price. Brilliant to watch.
Two St Helens players combining before Ellis got across the stripe, checking for obstruction. But you get the impression we're going to have a green light here. Here we go. From high above, they give the approval, the stamp of approval. The Lions, with their second 4-pointer of the night, get it back to a 6-point ball game with a kick coming up here. Too little too late, though, from the Lions.
Marvellous skill on show. Nice way to end the game. They deserve to score a try in the second half. Their second one for the second half. Price does well. Haven't seen too much of him in this game. What we've seen's been okay. We know he's elusive.
The conversion attempt has been successful. Ellis's try being converted. We won't have time for a restart. The Kiwis can celebrate. We have full time. Game 3 of the Gillette Tri-Nations New Zealand. The Crisco Kiwis chalk up their first win of the tournament. They snap a 4-game losing streak on the world stage. And they defeat the Lions 18 points to 14 here in Christchurch. Great Britain, better for the run, no doubt. I'm sure that'll be coming from the words of that man, Jamie Peacock, as he heads to the sheds, clearly disappointed. They got rid of some rust against Newcastle. Well, they've certainly got rid of a lot more here tonight in Game 3 of the tournament. 3 tries to 2. The Kiwis led 6-2 at the break, and they win it by 4 points. Paul Wellens among the bright sparks for the Lions tonight. The Harry Sunderland medal winner, of course, from the Super League Grand Final. The man of steel played his heart out tonight. As we go downstairs, and Stephen McIver is with the British captain.
Jamie, your face says it all. You gutted.
We weren't clinical enough when we were in their 20. We were pretty shocking, really, in their 20. Something we need to work on. I think we should have lost spirit to get back in the game, but it's pretty disappointed the way we performed. You know, it didn't complete many sets and didn't build much pressure, really. And, you know, that's what Test match is about, building pressure, and we fell short.
Yeah, but despite the disappointment, you must be a lot better for the hit out when you face the Kangaroos next week.
Yeah, you know, obviously it's going to be better for us having a game like this under a belt with intensity and that, but we wanted to get off to a better start and that. You know, we've let ourselves down a bit. We just need to get on with it now.
All right, well, nice to see you here anyway, mate. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Cheers.
Okay, let's have a look at the flip side, and Ruben Wiki, I'm sure he'll be having some carver celebrating this one. He's downstairs with Peter.
Ruben, it was going to be a tough match right from the outset, and it was exactly that.
No, it was, mate. You know, the Palms first game, and we needed to lift from last week's effort, and it was good grind, mate.
Exactly that. I thought the second half particularly was about staying in the arm wrestle, and you competed, you forced some pressure, and you got the points.
Yeah, it was. You know, that first 20 was unbelievable, you know, and both sides felt it, and I don't think the ball went out much, and credit to the boys, you know, they stood up and carried the old bloke in anyway.
Mate, defensively, this side's been outstanding, but none better, I think, than yourself when it's about covering up some of the mistakes.
I think everyone just work for each other and just believe in each other. You know, we're a big family, and we really needed it. We're desperate. You know, credit to all the young guys, you know, they keep me going, and they're my man of the match, those guys over there.
Mate, game 3, and it's starting to take its toll on you guys.
Yeah, we're going to have a bit of a break now. We're going down to Queenstown and just relax a bit. A lot of cover down there, brother.
Good on you, buddy.
Okay, also.
Well, I know I've said it before, but I'll say it again. He is a warrior in more ways than one. A happy captain tonight is Ruben Wiki. As we look at the score summary here, it was 3 tries to 2 for the Kiwis. Webb, Tony and Soliola getting across the stripe, and Stacey Jones perfect tonight with the boot. 3 from 3 for the Little General. While for the Lions, they're 14 points. Wellens and Ellis getting tries late in the piece. Long 2 from 2, and Maguire 1 from 1 right at the death. The Kiwis winning this one 18-14 in front of 17,000 Cantabrians. They get their first win in the 2006 Gillette Tri-Nation Series. Stick with us. More from Christchurch right after this. Welcome back to Jade Stadium. Let's go downstairs, and Stephen is with one of the happy Kiwis.
Second home game, second time you're the Gillette MVP, the $1,000 to the Women's Refuge, and also the Crisco Hamper Webby. You had a blinder again tonight, mate.
Mate, you know, we were a little bit scratchy tonight. I think we were a little bit lucky to get away with the win. We've got a lot of improvement on in a couple of weeks.
Mate, let's just walk this way, because I know you've actually got to go back in the huddle. But gee whiz, you must be happy with your own form in this, yeah?
Mate, I'm just out there trying my best as usual, and you know, it's still a credit to these guys. They're putting in the hard yards as well.
A little bit scrappy tonight. Improvement still needed.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Our ruck's still too loose. We're not winning enough play the balls. Yeah, we've still got a lot to work on.
Get in amongst it. Good luck, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Yes, a deserved winner of that Gillette Man of the Match award, and talk about some acceleration from long range tonight. What a try it was.
Oh, he was brilliant all over the park. A couple of try-saving tackles, and one play where he saved the try as well. With the arm, got in the road of Wellens, I think it was as well. But Brent Webb, he is an inspiration in this team. One another good performer in his team is what the one of us too, and that's Sioli Soliola.
Well, speaking of the man himself, Soliola is standing by with Stephen.
You'll see her, this Kiwi dream is alive and kicking for you. 2 tries last week, 1 tonight. It must be feeling okay.
Yeah, it's been great. The weather's been great here and the crowd's been awesome, so what better way to get in with a try.
You'd have to say, after last week's performance, this one was a little scrappier.
Yeah, it was. Look, we always knew the Pommies were going to come out firing, and we're just going to get that composure. So we're still improving, but we're happy to take the win.
Feel good to get that first one under your belt?
Yeah, for sure. It's just especially after, as they scored their last try, we knew we had to kick back, especially after last week's performance. We just couldn't let it slip this time.
We'll have a sort of a rest, and we'll see you in Greymouth next week.
Oh yeah, for sure. Can't wait.
OK, let's crunch the numbers here. The match stats at full-time, possession fairly even here tonight. The penalties favouring the Kiwis, and the line break surprisingly favouring the Lions, Daryl.
And the one there that really hurt Great Britain was the completion rate. 64% is not great. The Kiwis making nearly 300 tackles. Great Britain topping the 300 tackles. The Kiwis looked a little bit tired at the back end of that match. They've bashed themselves up a little bit over the last couple of weeks, and the bye this week comes at a very, very good time for them, Costo. They'll get a little bit of a breather, and Great Britain go straight back into Aussie.
OK, time for us to sign off from a high above here. Stephen, of course, we're crossing the Alps next weekend while the Lions get set for the Kangaroos.
Yes, it gets no easier for the Lions, does it? They face the Kangaroos. They've had a good week off, and they will only get better from their performance, despite being disappointed in Melbourne, even though they had the good wins, Pricey.
Yeah, they did, and it was a W against the Kiwis is certainly a relief for them. It wasn't a great game, but they got the win, and I think both teams can take a lot out of this night.
Pete, sorry, we're going to jump in here. I'd suggest the Kiwis were pretty disappointed with that performance tonight.
No, I thought the back half they would be pleased with it. They were able to grind away and stay in the arm wrestle. I think for Great Britain, a little disappointing. You know, we talked about at the top that this game is about territory and it's about being able to build pressure on the back of that. They failed to do that. Their completion was poor, but when they straightened the game up, particularly with Roby coming on, they started to look better when they played direct.
Neither side built pressure. I think there was one dropout in the whole game, and both teams need to be able to do that to compete with Australia.
I tell you what is the concern is that we're actually off to Greymouth next week. That's the concern, because it's going to be 2 days in Greymouth that the New Zealand residents face up to the Kiwis. Most importantly, though, the Lions are disappointed. They are going off the officials about the minute when the clock was not stopped. They're saying they lost a minute, and that they needed that extra minute. And, you know, you never know what could have happened, but that doesn't matter. The Kiwis get their first win in the Gillette Tri-Nations for 2006. The defending champions are not out of this. On behalf of all the teams, Steve Price, Peter Ropati, Costo and DJ upstairs, I'm Stephen McIver. We'll see you in Greymouth next Saturday afternoon.